All right, let's dive in. Today, we're taking a tour of a massive digital metropolis, one of the biggest, most bustling ecosystems in all of crypto. We're talking about the BNB chain.
So you got to ask yourself, right? What is the big deal here? Why are literally millions of people flocking to this one blockchain every single day? I mean, that's a huge number. But the reason, well, it's actually pretty simple.
It really just boils down to three things: low costs, high speed, and massive adoption. We're talking transactions that are incredibly cheap, and they happen almost instantly. And because of those two things, a ton of people and projects have already set up shop. It creates this powerful snowballing network effect.
Okay, so like any great city, it's all about the foundation, right? So let's dig into what really makes the BNB chain tick. What's the core promise holding this whole thing up?
Okay, check this out. These 4 points, they basically created a perfect storm for growth. First up, it's fast and cheap, and that makes it practical for everyday users, not just for big, giant trades. Then there's this thing called EVM compatible. It sounds techy, but all it really means is that developers can take their apps from Ethereum and just plop them right onto BNB Chain. Super easy. And that has fueled this incredible integrated ecosystem where you can find DeFi, NFTs, and gaming all in one spot. And of course, you can't forget, it was backed by Binance from the get-go. That meant a huge user base and a ton of money ready to go from day one. And this right here really just nails the whole philosophy. The number one goal is accessibility. It's all about lowering the barrier to entry for everyone. We're talking about users who are just sick of paying crazy high fees and developers who are looking for the biggest possible audience for their creations. It's built for them.
All right, so we've checked out the foundation. It's solid. Now for the fun part. Let's actually take a walk through the city itself. We're going to break it down into different districts, each with its own vibe, its own hotspots, and its own unique things to do.
So our first stop is the DeFi district. This is the financial hub, home to absolute giants like PancakeSwap, where you can swap tokens, and Venus, where you can lend and borrow. Next, we'll pop over to the entertainment district. This is where you'll find NFT marketplaces like Treasureland and those popular play-to-earn games like Mobox. And what holds this whole city together? Well, that's the infrastructure district. The plumbing, the electricity, with essential tools like Trust Wallet to keep your stuff safe, and the kits developers need to keep building cool new things.
But a city is nothing without its people, right? It's just empty buildings. So let's talk about the inhabitants. We're going to see how this ecosystem attracts and, more importantly, keeps its two most important groups, the builders and the everyday users.
What's so cool here is that it creates this powerful self-reinforcing cycle, like a flywheel. BNB Chain actively supports developers with stuff like grants and hackathons. So what happens? You get more user-friendly games and apps. And what do great apps do? They attract more users. And what do more users do? Well, they make the platform even more attractive for the next wave of builders. See? It just keeps spinning faster and faster.
Okay, so all that theory is great, but what does this actually look like in the real world? How are all these millions of people actually using the BNB chain day to day?
Well, it really comes down to 3 main things. First, DeFi. People are doing super fast token swaps. They're lending out their assets to earn some interest, whether yield farming, and they're doing all of it without those crushing fees you see on other chains. Second, they're just having fun. They're playing games and trading digital collectibles. And third, people are using stablecoins for small payments, microtransactions where speed and low cost are everything.
Okay, but let's be real for a second. No city is a perfect utopia, right? And it's super important we have a balanced view here. The BNB chain makes some very specific trade-offs, and it's facing some pretty big risks and some really fierce competition.
And this gets right to the heart of the whole debate. How does BNB Chain get that incredible speed and those low fees? Well, it uses a smaller, more centralized group of people to approve transactions. You can think of it like a board of directors that can make decisions really fast versus a huge town hall meeting where everyone has to agree, which takes forever. That's a direct trade-off. Ethereum, for example, is more like that slow, expensive town hall meeting because its number one priority is decentralization. Look, neither way is right or wrong. They just have totally different priorities.
And beyond that big trade-off, there are a few other risks to keep in mind. First, that influence of Binance and the main validators, that's a constant point of debate in the community. Second, just like any busy DeFi city, there's always the risk of a smart contract getting hacked. And finally, the competition is absolutely brutal. You've got other super fast chains like Solana and Avalanche fighting for the exact same users and developers.
So,
With all those challenges on the table, where does this digital metropolis go from here? What's the plan? Let's take a peek at the official roadmap to see the vision for the city's future.
The plan is actually pretty clear. Double down on what's already working. They want to expand their DeFi and NFT options, really push for more everyday users in places like Asia, Latin America, and Europe, and build better, more robust bridges to connect with other blockchains. The ultimate goal? It hasn't changed. They want to be the undisputed #1 spot for anyone looking for an easy, fast, and cheap way to get into Web3.
So, what's the bottom line here? It's simple. If you're looking for a super easy on-ramp to dApps, to gaming, to DeFi, without the crazy high costs or a massive learning curve, then BNB Chain was literally built with you in mind. It has absolutely cemented its place as the king of accessibility.
And that really leaves us with one final, fascinating question to chew on. Is the very thing that makes BNB Chain so successful, the speed, the low cost, the close ties to one big company, is that creating a truly open gateway for the masses, or is it just building a beautiful, super efficient, but ultimately walled garden?
And hey, before we wrap up, just the usual quick reminder. This is all just for educational and informational purposes. It is absolutely not financial advice. Crypto is a high-risk world, so please always do your own research before making any decisions. Thanks for tuning in.